Drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes. I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Good Saturday morning. What's happening? Beautiful men and women. I guess men ain't beautiful, but beautiful women, handsome fellas. Happy Saturday morning to you. You are watching the TFG Sports Show, the best 30-minute sports show on social media. I am your host, Kendrick the Sports Guy. Good Saturday morning to you. I hope you got your breakfast in. If you are just getting some breakfast, come sit down with me. Come talk a little bit with me. We're going to talk about some of the latest happenings that happened in the sports world this week. And today we got conference football championships going on. We got college football conference championships going on. Matter of fact, the TCU Horned Frogs and the Kansas State Wildcats, they're about to kick it off at AT&T Stadium in Dallas for the Big 12 championship. But we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get down closer in the show. And we're about what? Today is December 3rd. You got about 21 shopping days of Christmas. For those that do those type things, I say make it easy on yourself. And I got two words for you: Cash App. Because guess what? Cash is the gift that keeps on giving. So anyway, we're getting close to the Christmas time and about the end of the year. Year 2022 is almost in the book. So again, you're watching the TFG Sports Media Show. I'm your sports guy, Kendrick. Make sure you come in, like, share the broadcast. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. That is TFG Sports Media on YouTube. We're at 900 and I believe 18 subscribers. We almost to 1,000. We need your help. We got to get to that magic number of 1,000. Help me, please. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you share it to all your social media platforms. Make sure you come in here and comment so we can talk a taste. Now let's jump right into our quick hits for today. First of all, I just mentioned about college. Oh, I had some breaking news too that just came down for my soccer fans. U.S. men's soccer team just lost to the Netherlands, I believe 3-1. So that eliminated the U.S. men's soccer team out of the World Cup. Just got that alert from ESPN just like 2 minutes ago. But let's get into our quick hits. First of all, we're talking college football coaching jobs. First of all, we've had some jobs being filled. Let's talk about Nebraska. They hired former Carolina Panthers head coach Matt Rule. They hired him to take over their program after they had fired Scott Frost earlier in the season. Interim head coach Mickey Joseph was the guy, and he got into a little bit of trouble, some legal trouble. So I don't even know if he's going to be staying on Matt Rule's staff. So the Nebraska Cornhuskers did hire their guy, Matt Rule, former Carolina Panther, former Baylor Bear, and former Temple Owls head coach. Now, the Auburn Tigers, they hired their guy, a former SEC guy. They hired Hugh Freeze from the University of Liberty. Hugh Freeze is coming back to the SEC. He actually coached at, I believe, Ole Miss. He got into some trouble, some situations there. He had to leave there, but he is coming back. He will be taking over at Auburn. And the University of Alabama, Birmingham hired former Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback, former Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl winner Trent Dilfer, who also was an ESPN analyst. He will be the new guy at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. He was coaching at Lipscomb Academy in Nashville. So Trent Dilfer has a new job with University of Alabama, Birmingham. And Tom Herman, former University of Texas Longhorns head coach, is going to be the new guy, I believe, at Florida Atlantic University. So Tom Herman is back on the college sidelines as a head coach. He's taking over at Florida Atlantic. Now, quick hit number 2. Gators quarterback Jalen Kitna, if that last name sounds familiar to you. He is the son of former NFL quarterback John Kitna, who is the head coach at Burleson High School, a high school here in Texas. He's in a lot of trouble. He was arrested on Wednesday on 2 counts of distribution of child exploitation and 3 counts of possession of child pornography. He's actually has been suspended from the indefinitely by the University of Florida, but Thursday they actually suspended him altogether. The University of Florida team has suspended him altogether. He is facing some serious charges. He did bond out of jail. He is back in Burleson, Texas with his family, his dad, John Kidner, and his mom. But these are some serious charges. He's looking up to 15 years in prison for a couple of those charges. So again, that was Jalen Kidney, who was the former quarterback at the University of Florida and the son of NFL quarterback John Kidner. Now, third hit. Yeah, we're going to talk about Brett Favre. We talk about Kyrie Irving all the time. Ain't nobody talking about Brett Favre. We talk about Antonio Brown's shortcomings. What about Brett Favre? Well, Brett Favre's lawyers have filed a motion to remove him from that $77 million Mississippi welfare scam lawsuit. 5 of the 6 people that was involved allegedly in this scam were arrested in the case and have pleaded guilty to state charges. Favre does not currently face any criminal charges. If you know about that story, Favre accepted money to go and speak, like $1.1 million that was taken from the Mississippi welfare system to go to the needy people of that one of the poorest states, if not the poorest state in the United States. And he did pay the $1.1 million, but he still hadn't paid back the interest owed on that, which is roughly $208,000. Well, so anyway, but he's not been charged criminally, but he has been sued civilly. Now, last quick hit, college football playoff rankings, and these are going to change because we had an upset last night. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Michigan. Number 3, TCU. And number 4, USC. Well, that's going to change. USC lost last night in the Pac-12 Conference Championship to Utah. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Number 5 is Ohio State. Number 6 is Bama. Number 7 is Tennessee. Number 8 is Penn State. Number 9 is Clemson. And number 10 is KSU. So those are our quick hits for today. Now let's jump right into our NFL preview for Week 13. We're going to talk about the Dolphins. Miami Dolphins 8-3 at the San Francisco 49ers, who are 7-4. That's a late game window, 3:05 on Sunday. The series record, Dolphins lead this series all time, 8 wins to 6. They last met, Dolphins defeated the 49ers 43-17, and that was back in October of 2020. Last week, the Dolphins defeated the Texans 30-15, and the 49ers beat the Saints 13-0. Now, the 49ers defense, I didn't know this. I was doing my little homework. They didn't overtook the Cowboys. They really got the number 1 ranked defense overall. 49ers, they're number 1 against the rush, and they number 1 against scoring. So the 49ers defense, they got some heavy hitters on that side. So the Dolphins going to have their hands full to try to move the ball against that defense. Now, the former 49ers running backs, Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, they're going to be the players to watch for these Dolphins because guess what? They are coming from that system, so they know the 49ers system offensively and defensively. So look for Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson to have a good game. So we're going to see what happens with that. Now, both teams come in leading their divisions. Again, the Dolphins is leading the AFC East. But they're tied with the Bills now because the Bills got that win on Thursday night. But the Dolphins are 8-3. And the 49ers are leading the NFC West at 74. I think the 49ers pretty much going to have that division locked up in my mind because they've gotten healthy. Jimmy G is playing some good football. They may not have Christian McCaffrey. He's questionable. You know that dude, he gets dinged up every time you turn around, so that he may not be able to play on Sunday. Now, the Dolphins have won 4 of the past 5 meetings between these two teams. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, who spent the past 5 seasons as an assistant with the 49ers. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, he is having a great season. He is 7-1 versus NFC teams, but he's having a great season. He's 7-1 versus NFC teams with 17 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and he has a 114.4 QBR in his 8 starts versus NFC teams. So he's been feasting on the NFC. So can he continue to eat off the 49ers? I don't know. I think this is going to be a tough one. The Niners quarterback Jimmy G, he's got a good streak going on right now. He has thrown no interceptions in his past 137 pass attempts. So no interceptions for Jimmy G in his last 137 pass attempts. Now, the Dolphins got that firepower at the wide receiver position with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Both of these guys have had a couple of 100-yard receiving games thus far. Tyreek Hill has had 5. Jalen Waddle has had 4. So who you got? Kendrick, the sports guy, I'm going with the 49ers to continue their getting on the right track. I think they're going to win this game 24-16. Now, let's move on to our next game. We got the Chiefs 9-2 at the Bengals 7-4. That's a late window game on CBS as well, 325. Now, this is a rematch of the AFC Championship game from last season, who we know went to overtime, and there was some rules changes because of that. 27-24, the Bengals went on to win that game and to play in their first Super Bowl in some time. Now, the Chiefs right now are in the driver's seat for that number 1 seed in the AFC and a first-round bye. Remember, only the number 1 seeds in both conferences get that first-round bye now that there are 7 teams that go to the playoffs. The Chiefs have won 5 in a row. Now, the Bengals have won this 7 of their last 9, and they've won 3 in a row. So both these teams are coming in hot. The Bengals will have some more firepower back. Wide receiver Jamar Chase, he's missed the last 4 games because of a hip, I think, contusion or something like that. But he should be good to go on Sunday, according to reports. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, he leads the NFL in passing yards with 3,585 yards and touchdowns in 29. And I must say, congratulations to him and his wife. They just had a new addition to the family. I believe they had a little boy this week. So congratulations to the Mahomes. Now, the Chiefs have the top scoring offense in the NFL, right at 30 points a game. So they could put them numbers up, with Travis Kelce at that wide receiver, at the tight end position. He's his big weapon. And this new running back they got, I can't even pronounce his name, but he has pretty much supplanted Edwards-Helaire as the starter, and he's a good runner. But the Chiefs are a little banged up at the wide receiver position. Kadarius Toney has a hamstring issue, and he may be a game-time decision. And McCole Hardman is on IR with abdominal problems. So the Chiefs are a little banged up at the wide receiver position, but we'll see what Mahomes and Travis Kelce can do. See if the Bengals going to use that to their advantage, where they can maybe do some more doubling and with Travis Kelce. So we're going to see what happens. This is going to be a big game to watch. Now, my pick for this game, I'm going with the Chiefs with the same score from the AFC Championship game, but I'm picking the Chiefs to win this 27-24 and to put more of a stranglehold on that number 1 seed in the AFC conference. Now let's get to our last game. We got the Colts 4-7-1 at those Dallas Cowboys 8-3. That's our Sunday night game. The Colts, got their new interim coach Jeff Saturday. There were some issues about clock management last game once they lost to the Steelers. But, that's growing pains. We're going to see what happens with that. Now, the Cowboys defense faced their 3rd top-notch running back in the last 3 weeks. They faced Dalvin Cook with the Vikings, Saquon Barkley with the Giants, and now Jonathan Taylor with the Colts. And they've held the run games in check. We know that's one of their weaknesses. But the last 2 weeks, they've held Dalvin Cook and Saquon Barkley in check. One reason they were able to hold Cook in check was the Vikings got behind so quickly they couldn't really run the football. And Saquon Barkley, the Cowboys, they tighten up on the defensive end. So we're going to see if they can continue that with Jonathan Taylor. Now, the Colts are coming off again a loss to the Steelers 24-17. And the Cowboys beat the Giants 28-20 on Thanksgiving. That game was really closer than I thought it would be. But the Cowboys got to clean up them penalties. I think they had 14 penalties, 12 penalties. They still got to clean that up. Now, the Dallas defense leads the league in sacks with 45. And the Colts offensive line has allowed the most sacks with 43. So one of the key matchups to watch, Colts offensive line versus the Dallas defense pass rush. Now, this is the 4th game for 37-year-old quarterback Colts Matt Ryan, and he's going to be facing the top-rated passing defense of the Cowboys in the league. So we're going to see what Matt Ryan will be able to throw the football. They're going to probably really try to lean on that run game because, again, the Cowboys, even though the last 2 weeks they've tightened that up and they've done well, we're going to see if they're going to try to lean on that to keep that pressure off Matt Ryan. Now, the Colts are 10.5-point underdogs, which it sounds about right to me. And the Cowboys at the wide receiver position. Let's talk about that. The word on the street is OBJ is leaning towards signing with the Cowboys. Got to be another weapon for Dak Prescott. But right now, CeeDee Lamb is balling. He's second in the NFC with 857 yards receiving, and he's had 2 100-yard receiving games. So, but you know what? I always say you can't ever have enough weapons. So right now, it looks like it's between the Bills and the Cowboys. That's what reports I've been reading. Now, the Cowboys should run the table beginning with this game. They got the Colts on Sunday night, then they host the Texans, and then they go to Jacksonville. So the Cowboys should be 11-3. They should be. But again, this is football. This is NFL. Anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday. I'm going to say my pick. I think the Cowboys going to kind of struggle a little bit. They've been off 10 days, but I think they're going to get that thing going. I think they're going to ramp it up, and I think the Cowboys will beat the Colts 31-20. Now, other NFL games of note, we got the Packers at the Bears. Both starting quarterbacks will play. Last report I saw, Aaron Rodgers had those rib injuries. He's going to play. Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields had a shoulder injury, but he's going to play as well. I could talk about that Aaron Rodgers situation. I think he's handcuffing the Packers at this moment, but that's neither here nor there. I think he's bullying head coach Matt Rule. But Packers at Bears, that's an early game, noon game. We got the Browns at the Texans. Deshaun Watson, first start in 2 years at Houston. We're going to talk about that a little later in the show. Got the Jets at the Vikings. Got the Titans at the Eagles and the Commanders at the Giants, a big NFC East showdown right there. So that is our NFL Week 13 preview. Now let's move on to Mr. Deshaun Watson. He's been suspended for 11 games. So you all know the backstory situation with him, with the inappropriate sexual conduct, getting massages that was going on with the Houston Texans. He was accused by over 25, almost 30 women. Most of those women have settled. They got a hot shot attorney, Tony Busby. So the NFL did their thing. The arbitrator ruled 6 games. They ended up giving it. They ended up not liking that. Roger Goodell. They went to another arbitrator. They eventually settled. They eventually settled on 11 games suspension with a $5 million fine. That's the backstory. Well, Deshaun Watson hadn't played down in a regular season game since 2020. He's returning to face the old team that he was traded from, the Houston Texans. And the Browns are 4-7. I got a thing. My thing is the Browns. This is going to be a circus, in my opinion. But the reason why I say that, because about 10 of those women that accused Deshaun Watson of the sexual misconduct are going to be at this game with their attorney, Tony Busby, and they will be sitting in a suite. You know, there's a lot of questions in my mind. It's like, if this was this misconduct was done by Deshaun Watson, and these women are the victims, if I'm a victim, why would I want to attend a game that the one that did these things to me? Why would I want to do that? There was sign. I read some reports on it. The women say they just want to let him know that they're here. He did not break them. And okay, and that's all well and good. But I think this, in my opinion, their attorney, Tony Busby, I think this is really just a publicity stunt. I think he wants to be a hotshot lawyer. I think this is something that he pretty much want to do. He said the women volunteered. But I'm like, how's he going to see you if you sit in a suite? Unless you're going to be doing, are the women going to be doing some protesting outside before they go to the suite? Who paid for this suite? All these women got paid. So did Tony Busby pay for this suite, or did the ladies pay for this suite? I don't know. I just think as a victim of sexual misconduct, I would think that you would want to be nowhere in the vicinity of the person that you accused of the sexual misconduct. And had you been to any other football game? I'm just trying to see. I mean, had you? I don't get the reasoning for these ladies wanting to attend this game, but that is going to be the thing. Again, quarterback Deshaun Watson, his first return to the NFL, his first game is in Houston. And on the flip side, I think the Cleveland Browns, Jacoby Brissett has been playing well. So how come just not let him come back on this game? Let him skip this game, continue to start Jacoby Brissett, bring Deshaun Watson back next week. I think this could have been an easy thing, but who am I to question this? I just think this is going to be a circus. I think at this point, I think a lot of us as NFL fans, we are over it. Now, you know that Deshaun Watson did sign a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed deal with the Browns. So he is getting paid. Again, he did have to pay a fine of $5 million once all this was settled. And he had to go through some other counseling and other issues for him to be reinstated. He just became back reinstated a couple of weeks ago. So again, that is going to be the game to watch. I ain't gonna say game to watch. I want to know if the camera's going to be on these women because obviously they were not identified in the lawsuit. Again, let's make this clear: Deshaun Watson was not criminally convicted of anything. He was sued civilly. Those 2 grand juries in Texas did not find enough evidence to convict him of a crime criminally. So let's remember that this is all civil lawsuits at this point. So again, I don't know. I just think that's crazy for those women to want to be there. But I think it's more of a Tony Busby, their attorney, trying to make a name for himself. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, let's move on to another. So we stay in the NFL. Let's stay with we're going to the Commanders. They had a last week, Deshaun Taylor statue unveiling, former Washington Commanders safety, one of the best to ever do it. I don't know if you were able to see a picture of this. If you get a chance, go Google this statue, because basically this was, I don't know who put this together, but I'll be honest with you, the Commanders ought to be ashamed of themselves, the front office, for because it looked like it was something thrown together. You've been at the mall and you go shopping and you see the mannequins that are up in a certain stores that have the clothes on. Those mannequins look better than this alleged statue. But the Commanders unveiled this statue last Sunday versus the Falcons that included what was supposed to be Sean Taylor statue, but it really looked like a wired, dressed up mannequin with his number 21 Nike, I believe, jersey, and no Reebok jersey, and I believe and then the pants were Nike pants. It looked like a hot mess, in my opinion. His family, Sean Taylor's family, was there at the unveiling. They were also able to go visit his locker that has been enshrined in, and they basically kept his locker as is. The Commanders organization, they basically kept it as is. So his daughter and his dad and his rest of his family, they were able to do that. Now, I did not see any comments from the family about if they were not happy with that statue. I did see one comment from his daughter that said that she was just happy and ecstatic for them to honor her dad and this and that. But I'll be honest with you, and I posted this story on TLG Sports Media, and a lot of the Commanders fans said, you know, that was, somebody need to be fired for even allowing that to be used as a statue. Now, the Commanders say that the reason they did it like that because they want to make it easier to move if and when they get a new stadium. But you can, okay, I mean, but people make statues all move. That doesn't make sense to me. The Commanders organization is just, I don't get it. I think Daniel Snyder is a joke. I know the Commanders are, you know, a couple of weeks ago, Daniel Snyder is still under scrutiny, you know, for the sexual misconduct that went on in the workplace and other items and other things that's going on. But the word is that he is looking to try to sell the team. So again, I just think shame on the Commanders organization for throwing, to me, what I call was just something thrown together that you put together in 2 minutes. Now, if you don't know backstory, the late Sean Taylor, he was shot in his home during a burglary back in 2007 in his leg. The burglars were convicted. The men were convicted. He was shot. He was rushed to the hospital, but the shot hit him in his femoral artery, and he just lost too much blood, and he died. Sean Taylor did play 4 seasons for the Commanders after being selected with the 5th pick in 2004 NFL draft out of Miami. He had 305 tackles in his career, 12 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles during his short career, and one of his all-time greatest hits happened in the Pro Bowl when he hit the punter. I think his name was Buffalo punter Sean Mormon, and he blindsided that guy, and I thought that guy, he knocked him into the new future. So again, Commander, shame on yourself, but we still gonna salute the late great Sean Taylor. He deserves a better statue than that, Commanders. Y'all get it together. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about college football conference championships. We got that going on today. Matter of fact, 11 a.m. just kicked off not too long ago. We had the Big 12 championship between Kansas State 9-3 versus undefeated number 4 in the CFP TCU. That's going on ABC. We got the SEC championship, LSU 9-3 versus Georgia, number 1 Georgia in the CFP. They 12-0. That is going down at 3 p.m. on CBS. We have the Big 10 championship, 8-4 Purdue versus Michigan, who's ranked, I believe, number 2 in the CFP. That's at 7 p.m. on Fox. And then last night we had the upset. Utah 9-3 defeated USC, who were 11-1. They defeated them last night on Fox, and that was a runaway. Utah ran all over USC 47-24. So that means number 4 USC, that's going to drop them out of there. That leaves a shot for guess who? Ohio State and Alabama. But, neither one of those teams are playing today. They're not playing in their conference championship. Last loss Ohio State has, they got their butts kicked by Michigan. And so that's not going to look good, but that's going to look better. Me personally, I think Alabama's at 5. I think I'm sorry, Bama's at 6. I think Ohio State is the one got their butt kicked. But I think the 2 losses by Bama, 2 close losses, the one to Tennessee and the LSU. If I had, I would leapfrog Bama over Ohio State. But that's me. But a lot of people ain't gonna want to see that. So with Ohio State moving to that 4th slot, because USC they're gonna drop all the way back, probably about to 7 or 8. Or with Alabama jump into that 4th spot. Or could TCU lose today too? And could that open up for both Alabama and Ohio State jumping back in there with 2 losses? So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, it's College Football Conference Championship Saturday. And we got the SWAC Championship that's going down at 3 p.m. on ESPN2. Southern is 7-4 versus the undefeated Jackson State Tigers. And the reason I brought that up, because I woke up to news. I posted it on TFG Sports Media. Head coach Prime, all reports are pointing to Coach Prime. This could be his last time coaching as a SWAC coach. I'm talking about the SWAC conference. Obviously, if they're going to probably go to the Celebration Bowl if they win. Looks like all reports are saying, according to ESPN, that he's getting his stuff together and he's taking his talent to the University of Colorado. As much as I say don't want that to happen, I understand if it happens, but all reports are saying that Coach Prime is going to tell his players by Sunday that what he's going to do. It hasn't been set in stone, but all the reports are hearing is that Coach Prime will leave Jackson State to head up the University of Colorado football program. So we'll keep our eye on that. And if that does happen, I'll do something quick on that. But I did go check out the story I did on TFG Sports Media this morning on maybe Coach Prime leaving the SWAC and heading to the Pac-12. Now, down to our hot mic moment. This has been getting a lot of traction for the last two weeks, probably last week. We talking Jerry Jones and LeBron James. I don't know if you saw the photo. I'm sure most people have saw that photo by now. Jerry Jones back at September 9th, 1957. He was in a photo of a mob, which I will call it, a mob of white boys really trying to keep 2 black students come into North Little Rock High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. At that time, Jerry Jones was 14 years old. And that's something that a lot of people has been keying on. Was he older? He was just 14. At 14, you know what's right from right. Now, Jones would comment on this photo, and he said that he was just there because as a curious thing with no intention of harassing the black students. I got some land over in Timbuktu I would want to sell you if you want me to believe that. Jerry has been very coy about this. He hasn't really come out and owned it, in my opinion. He's kind of talked around it. Well, Lakers superstar LeBron James called out the national media on this. In his press conference after a game versus the Trailblazers, he asked, you guys asked me about everything else. None of you have asked me about this Jerry Jones photo. One of the media members tried to jump in. He said, no, hold on, let me finish. And LeBron would go on to say, you guys was asking us about Kyrie Irving over and over again. You would ask us about Colin Kaepernick and all these other stuff, but you wouldn't ask me about the Jerry Jones photo, which during that time harassing black people. That our people has been going through this stuff in America, and you wouldn't ask me about that. And I say this to say this: LeBron was right. The national media is they pick and choose what they want to blow up. Oh, they was all over this Kyrie Irving. Oh, they asking everybody in Kyrie Irving. Then I heard one sports opinion that say, well, Jerry Jones isn't in football, he isn't in basketball, he's in football. So it don't make a big difference. I don't care what sports you ask people about other athletes about sports in other areas all the time. So LeBron James called out the national media and he called out Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones will respond, basically being complimentary. Again, his answers to this has not been, in my opinion, he's just been jogging around it. He's been circling around it. And he did respond to LeBron's comments and basically just was giving him compliments on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas-Fort Worth. So my hot mic moment is I think the national media need to be called out. The ESPNs, the Foxes, a lot of the sports opinionists, they be going hard on certain things, but then they won't go hard on other things, like this Brett Favre situation. Why hadn't the national media jumping all over Brett Favre? How come they not asking Tom Brady about Brett Favre? I don't care he's not playing anymore. How come they not asking Aaron Rodgers about Brett Favre or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, all the top quarterbacks in the NFL? How come they not asking about that? That's a national story, and the national media has kind of swept it under the rug. It's not getting much play if you notice. But Kyrie Irving was plastered all over the media. You couldn't get enough of Kyrie Irving, but Brett Favre is pretty much tucked away in a corner somewhere. So national media, and I'm part of the media. I'm in front of this, but I'm not national. I just do my little YouTube thing. But I also worked in the media, and I know how sometimes it works. So yeah, national media, get it together. If you're gonna be fair all the way around. Let's do that. If you're gonna ask athletes about controversial subjects, don't pick and choose which one you want to deal with just because that's Jerry Jones and the owner of the Cowboys. So that's been my hot mic moment for today. And this has been the TFG Sports Media Show. I am your host, Mr. Kendrick, the sports guy. And I'm glad I didn't have anybody jump in. But if you watch this later, make sure you comment. Make sure you like and share this to all your social media platforms. And subscribe to TFG Sports Media. Again, we got to get to 1,000. We're almost there. We're at 918, I believe. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go check out some of the other stories on the channel as well. Click that thumbs up button. Get that YouTube algorithm going as well. And let me say a shout out before I get out of here too. We got to talk about East Texas football. I'm in Texas. Football is king. We got state playoffs going on. East Texas football, or Beast Texas, did a job on last night. These teams are one game away from a state championship game. These teams are basically in the state semifinals. The Longview Lobos, the Chapel Hill Bulldogs, Carthage Bulldogs, the Harmony Eagles, the Malakoff Tigers, and the Timpson Bears. Congratulations to each one of you. Those guys will play again next week. They get that W. They'll be playing at AT&T Stadium for a state championship. So again, congrats to East Texas football. You keep doing your thing out there. So again, this has been the TFG Sports Show, the best 30-minute sports show on social media. I'm your host, Kendrick, the sports guy. You all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Go check out some conference football, and we'll see you right back here Saturday morning at 11 a.m. I'm out. Deuces.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like whoa. I hit record it, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now.